Hey guys, got a quick lesson here on how to actually find the slope of a line. Now we've been working this week on graphing using the slope and y-intercept. Well, now we want to take a little bit of a look at what is slope of a line. So this is out of your textbook at home, section 5.3, slope of a line. Okay. And what that refers to, slope of the line, is the steepness of a line. So how steep the line is. Okay, now you're going to have different types of steepness. Okay, so just draw quick little pictures of these things. You might have a line that goes up very fast. If you've ever gone skiing or snowboarding before, you know that some slopes are a lot steeper than others. Okay, so this would be considered a fairly steep line, whereas this might not be as steep. Okay, this would be kind of the beginner slope, and this would be the advanced expert slope. Okay, I haven't been skiing for a long time. What do they call them? Black diamonds or something like that. But anyway, so this would be the black diamond. This would be more the beginner bunny hill, whatever they call it. All right. Now, we need to know that there's different types of slopes. So there's going to be positive slope lines. There's going to be negative slope lines. There's going to be zero slope lines. And there's going to be undefined slopes. Okay? How do I know what each of those looks like? So, again, another quick picture. You always read a graph from left to right. So a line that's going uphill, this is considered positive. Because again, it starts low and it's going up high. That's positive. It's like my day starts low, but it keeps going up. That's a positive, good thing. I'm having a good day. All right? Now, a negative slope goes downhill. Okay, so that's a negative slope. Okay, it goes downhill. Starts high, but things are going down. I'm losing money. Maybe that's not good. Negative slope. Now, there's going to be zero sloped lines. Those are lines that go straight side to side. Side to side is zero. Side to side is zero. So this is a zero sloped line. If it goes straight side to side. And then if it goes straight up and down, it's undefined. Okay, UND for up and down. If it goes straight up and down, that's undefined. Okay, now what do those look like in terms of answers? Well, positive is just that. It comes out to positive maybe 2/3. Negative is just that. It comes out to negative maybe 1/4. Okay, zero is just that. But now, how do I know zero from undefined? Here's how I know. If it comes out to 0 over 5, that's 0. So if 0 is on top, the answer is 0. But if the 0 is under, so if it's 6 over 0, if it's underfined. Get it? Underfined? Okay, so this one is undefined. There's a rule in math that says you can't divide by 0. Okay, so again, if it goes up and down, or the 0 is under, it's underfined. Okay? Now, slope is a rate of change. Okay, so a rate of change. You write it as change in y over change in x. Okay, we're gonna get a formula here in just a second. Okay, now the way you write that in shorthand form is you do delta y over delta x. Okay, this triangle is called delta, a Greek letter. And what delta stands for is change. Okay, so it's a change in y over a change in x. Well, how do you figure out something changes in math? You subtract. Okay, so there's going to be a subtraction here. Now, this is the actual formula. You write it as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, this is our formula for slope. It's going to give us our rise over run. Okay? We've talked about rise over run last week. Now, this, I'm going to give you the specifics of what does it mean to have y2 and y1. What does it mean to have x2 and x1. Here we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give us a graph first. I'm going to show you how you can count the slope and how you can actually calculate it. And that's what we want to be able to do the most, is actually calculate. But sometimes you can just count it. Okay, so if you're doing this along with me right now, make a graph. Okay, we'll go by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the way I set mine up. Okay, so we're going to actually do something now. And we're going to plot 2 points. The 2 points we're going to plot are going to be -2, -3. I'm going to label it here that this one is -2, -3. Okay, and then we're also going to plot 1, 2. Okay, and I'll label it there. And those 2 points are going to fall on a line that maybe we've already graphed. Okay, so it's graphed here for us to look at now. Okay, so we want to calculate the slope. So find the slope. Again, there's going to be 2 ways to do it. One is the counting way. So I'm going to put this down here first. Method number 1 is counting. And that works pretty good as long as your axes are consistently labeled. If not, it's recipe for disaster. Okay, so I kind of stick away from this, but this is a way that you can do it. Now remember, it's change in y over change in x. So y is an up and down movement. X is a side to side movement. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, to count it, I'm going to start from this point here and tell myself, how do I get from this point to that point? Well, watch. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my change in y is to go up 5. And then where do I go? I go from here over 1, 2, 3. I go over 3. Remember, you always read a graph going across this way. So we're going from this point to that point, up 5 over 3. So my change in y is 5. My change in x is 3. And that's my slope. Now, I really, again, don't prefer that method. Okay? I prefer that you use method number 2, which is to use the formula. Okay, so how do we use method number 2, which again is using the formula? Okay, well, first thing you want to do is write down what the formula is. The formula is slope equals y2 minus y1. You don't have this memorized yet, so you're just copying it right now. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, you're going to write your 2 points down. So I gave those to you on the graph. -2, -3, and 1, 2. Now, you need to know this, that every point is written x, y. Write that down below here, x, y. Okay? Every point is always written x, y. So because I wrote this one first, I'm going to call it x1 and y1. And because I wrote this one second, I'm going to call it x2 and y2. And then I'm going to plug those numbers into my formula. So watch what I'm saying. I'm going to say my slope equals, again, it says y2. Now, what was y2? Well, y2 is right here. y2 is 2. Subtract, it says y1. Now, be careful when you subtract. Subtraction is always harder. Subtract y1, well, y1 is -3. Put it over x2, Well, x2 is 1. Subtract x1, which is negative 2. Again, we've got the minus because the formula has it, and we have minuses because those numbers were negative. So minuses are going to turn into plus, and we're going to be left with 5 over 3 as our slope using the formula. Again, the formula is faster, it's quicker, and pretty easy to do. Now again, I called this one x1 and y1 because I wrote it down first. And I called this one x2 and y2 because I wrote it down second. But I'm going to do that exact same problem now, and I'm just going to write them down in a different order. 1, 2, and negative 2, negative 3. So I'm going to write them down in a different order. But I'm going to call it x, y, because every point is x, y. I'm going to call it x, y again. This one is x1 and y1, the way I wrote it down this time. And this one is x2 and y2, because again, I wrote these first, I wrote these second. Okay, now again, I'm going to use my formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, now my y2 this time is negative 3. Subtract y1, which is 2. Put it over x2, which is negative 2. Subtract x1, which is 1. So negative 3 minus 2, well, that's negative 5. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. And you might be saying, oh, you got a different answer. No, I didn't. A negative over negative becomes positive, and we get the same answer. So the point I'm trying to make there is it doesn't matter the order that you write your 2 points, as long as you stay consistent. This one's first, this one's second. So let's do one more of those, and I think you've got an idea. You can rewatch this, of course, if you need to. All right, so let's try this. And then there's a few other things we need to wrap up in a second video. All right, so here's our second one. Let's say my 2 points, we're not going to graph it this time. Let's go with 2, 7 and 8, 4. 2, 7 and 8, 4. Now again, I'm going to call this x, y. I'm going to call this x, y. I'll call this x1 and y1. I'll call this x2 and y2. So again, we're going to use our formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so that's going to be y2 is 4. Subtract y1, which is 7. Put it over x2, which is 8. Subtract x1, which is 2. So 4 minus 7 is negative 3. Over 8 minus 2 is 6. Now you have to reduce your fractions. So if this reduces, which it does, 3 goes into both of those. 3 goes into 3 one time and goes into 6 2 times. And I get negative 1/2 as my slope. Okay, there's one more video to watch, so watch the second one here in just a second. Take a little break and come back to it.